Hi, I'm Chad Blank with Team Tillman and Coldwell Banker. This week's with Tuesday Tips with Team Tillman, we're talking about the inspection. Actually, the pre-inspection. When we work with our buyers, we always advise them to get an inspection. It's very important for them to have a professional come in and look for health and safety issues with the house. Since we recommend all of our buyers, and we recommend anybody buying a house to get an inspection, we work with our sellers to prepare them for this type of an inspection. Now, not only will the potential buyers be looking to get an inspection, but many cities require an inspection when you sell your house. There are many simple and easy things that you can check to make sure that it is up to code prior to an inspection. And as part of Team Tillman, we offer our sellers a program in which we'll come through and check over a dozen of these items to make sure they are up to where they need to be. And if they're not, we do have resources to help you get them corrected prior to any type of inspection. Today we're going to talk about 3 things you can simply check yourself. Now let's go find Dan and see what he's up to.
Hi, I'm Dan Tillman with Team Tillman. I'm here today to talk to you about one of the inspection items, pre-inspection items that you might be interested in looking at, and that happens to be this item right here. Is called a GFI, or a ground fault indicator. What it is a mini fuse box within the plug, and all you do is when it trips, you'll hear that sound and it shuts the electricity off. Most of these have to be within 5 feet of a water source. You push on the button and it resets it. Now, some of the water sources that I mean, as well as other items in the house that are now code that has to have a GFI, is your kitchen, your bathroom, the garage. Any outdoor outlets that you have that are covered have to be covered with a box, as well as a washer-dryer plug-in. All now, according to code, has to be a GFI. And you can obviously get an electrician to obviously change these and make them so that they'll operate properly in order to do that. We want to talk to you about these codes because these are items that are going to come up on an inspection item, and we want to make you be prepared so they can't discount the price of the home. So now let's go see what Chad's got going on.
Part of any inspection, we're always going to look at smoke alarms. And there are some very specific places and regulations around smoke alarms. It is important to have a smoke alarm, one, on every single floor. Even if your basement is unfinished, you still need a smoke alarm. Here we're in a basement, but it is finished. But if it wasn't finished, there's actually smoke alarms in a perfect spot. Unfinished basements, they advise the smoke alarm to be right by the stairwell going upstairs. Now, let's say you have bedrooms. It is important to have smoke alarms in a few different places. One, the smoke alarm needs to be within 10 feet of any living quarters. So any bedroom, you need to have a smoke alarm outside in the hallway within 10 feet of the doors. On top of that, you need to have smoke alarms inside each individual bedroom. This is just so in case wherever this fire happens or there's smoke coming, people who are sleeping will be alerted. Now, where you put the smoke alarms is also very important. Ideally, they want them on the ceiling. You can't just put them anywhere though. You need to make sure you're at least 14 inches away from the wall. And this is just because the way the smoke works, it comes up to the ceiling first. So it wants to have the smoke tank be the best place to be able to catch that smoke. You get too close to the wall though, the smoke actually kind of curves down and you might end up in a little bit of a gap. If you can't put it on the ceiling for some reason, you can put them on the wall. But again, placement is important. You have to be at a minimum of 4 inches down on the wall, but you cannot be more than a foot from the ceiling. That way you make sure that the smoke hits it as quickly as possible, alerting everybody. Now let's say that you're on a floor in which there are no bedrooms. Where do you put the smoke alarm? It is advised to put the smoke alarm somewhere within a normal living area, like a living room, something like that. It's probably best not to put the smoke alarm exactly in the kitchen. That way, you know, we've all been there when we forgot about the cookies in the oven or something like that, and all of a sudden everybody thinks the house is on fire. So don't necessarily put it in the kitchen, but someplace in within the living space on that floor. On top of smoke detectors, it's also important to have CO2 detectors. Now, many smoke detectors actually have a dual purpose where they have the smoke detector and the CO2 in there as well. It's very easy to do, and it's it looks a lot better just to have one unit versus two. If you don't want to go that way, there's also multiple options for CO2 detection. Now, if you're in a newer house, the smoke alarms are probably going to be wired with each other, meaning when it goes off, they all go off. If you're in an older house, you'll be grandfathered in, meaning you can go with the actual battery type of smoke alarms. Make sure you check the batteries and that they work. An inspector's not going to go, oh, yep, there's a smoke alarm, that's fine. They're probably going to push the button and make sure it beeps. So make sure the batteries are in there and they're working. Let's just say that you do move into a house, they're not hardwired in, and you're like, I really want something like that. There's an easier solution. There are many smart smoke alarms now in which connect via Wi-Fi. So as long as your Wi-Fi router isn't on fire and you have electricity still going to it, all the alarms will still go off. It's an easier solution than pulling wire throughout the entire house. But if you do a major renovation, please remember you're probably going to have to wire your smoke detectors throughout your house.
Hi, I'm here to introduce you to a product called a vacuum breaker or an anti-siphon device. This anti-siphon device goes on the spigot of your outdoor hose and water supply, and what it does is it prevents the backflow of the water that could be contaminated to go back into your drinking water in your home. If you have a city inspection, or if you sell your home and you have a buyer do an inspection, they're going to require these to be put on the outside spigots of your home, as well as the slop sink that you may have in the laundry room as well. So let me show you how to install this product. So I'll make sure that this little nut is almost all the way off, so I can thread this on there onto the spigot. And once I get it where I got it somewhat tight, and I take my wrench and I tighten it up right there. Then there's a little nut on the side. I'll start hand threading it, and once I get done hand threading it, I'll take the wrench and keep turning it until the whole thing breaks off. So, and when it does, it's secure and it's never coming off. And there it is in my little hand there. Then I'm going to take the hose and I'm now going to put this on. I'm going to tighten up the hose onto this particular item, and when it's tight, and that's how you install that, and now you don't have to worry about any contaminated water getting back into your household water source. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining us for this week's Tuesday Tips with Team Tillman. Subscribe for next week's tips video and join us at teamtillmanmn.com. There you'll find on our event page we have in-person seminars that go over simple home improvements. Also, we have additional resources and ebooks for all your personal real estate needs. Finally, we are proud to offer a $1,000 off closing cost buyer-seller program.
Join us next week for another Tuesday Tips with Team Tillman. Thanks for watching.